I
Well,
got some.
I, I mean, I cannot tell you what an honor it is to have the icon on Gary McCord today, Two Club Chumps, Brent Brockermeyer with John Adams. I mean, I'm so happy we connected because I kind of feel like the whole spirit of Two Club Chumps is right down your alley because, we don't take ourselves seriously. We don't have, we're not, the Golf Channel interviewing, every single player. We want to have fun and talk about kind of the fun part, the crazy part. This is really the wildest time in professional golf. And we've watched a lot of Off Your Rocker with you and Costas and really enjoyed that. And so we're kind of in the same vein. I mean, we'll have some, we had John Ashworth on and, Trotty, but then we'll have just, some different kind of fun people that love golf. So I'm just so excited to have you here. I'd love to kind of dig into a little bit of your history. I remember, you kind of made golf fun for me when I was really watching a ton of golf, you and Costas and the old crew. So tell us a little bit about kind of where you grew up and how you got into golf.
I got involved. I grew up at Garden Grove High School. I was there as a freshman, and some strange occurrences there. I was I remember I was out on the range, and basically it was a football field. And next to the football field was a field, and I'd go out there, and my mom was getting golf lessons, and I just tag along, and I was out there hitting balls, and the cheerleading team was always out there practicing, and so these women are having my mom are having their deal, and I'm out whacking balls out in this field, and the cheerleaders would see me out there, and they would start harassing my ass, and I mean just harassing me, and they're doing cheers and everything else, and and this is where I kind of got, in life where you don't know where you want to go. And I was young and I'd never seen Goofy before. And I've never been around anything that was really somebody outside of the goofiness
Hmm.
and in right center field. Well, the head cheerleader at Garden Grove High School was Steve Martin. And Steve Martin was the guy that was on my ass when I was out on the field.
Wait, the Steve
And
Martin?
the Steve Martin. And
Oh
he
my.
was the first guy I'd ever seen that was flat nuts. And I remember I played basketball and they were inside too in the basketball court and they were going through their stuff. And he was just, I'd never seen nuts before. And I thought, I like that. Um,
That's
he was a
hilarious.
magician. So I started doing that, became a close up magician. So it kind of, Steve Martin kind of, when I look back and start talking about it, he was the guy that really, the first guy I remember that influenced me of a direction to go.
That is
I didn't know where I
hilarious.
was going with it, but
That's
I
crazy.
liked the fact that stupidity could pay off.
And that explains your whole golf and comedy life. I love it. Who knew? I would never have heard that story before. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was. We used to. I remember also there was at Garden Grove High School. There was a quad area, a senior quad area, right? And Steve was a senior when I was. He's 3 years older than I am. I'll be 76. Yeah, he's close to 80 now. And and all I saw was he was sitting there with playing the banjo,
Yes.
and
Yes.
he had another guy, fat guy, that was helping him with the banjo. And I had no idea. Now listen to this. This is Garden Grove High School, and he's sitting there with, I want to say, Charlie McEwen, the banjo player of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
No kidding. He
Yeah,
went to
and
a legendary high
he was the
school.
one teaching him how to play the banjo, and he was there every day. He'd be sitting there plucking, and just learning how to play. So it was quite a gathering
Oh
of
my gosh.
talent when you see those two
Some
go.
luminaries back in Garden Grove. Who knew?
Yeah, and then Steve was working on the weekends at Disneyland,
Okay.
and you guys have ever been to Disneyland in Anaheim, but there's
Yeah.
a bridge that goes over
Yeah.
from the Square into Fantasyland.
Hmm.
Okay, And on the weekends, there was a little magic store at the end of that bridge into the inside, and Steve would come out. He would put his tray right in the middle of that bridge where people are going left and right. And of course, he had an arrow through his head, and he had balloon animals there, and he was doing all this stuff.
Yes,
And
yes.
I was working there one summer, and I was working, there's an underground whole deal there at Disneyland. And I
Yeah.
was working underground at It's a Small World. So
Mm.
so the idiocy really played well with the fact that if you listen to 4 8 hours a day, you will become psychotically unbalanced. And so all these things, when I look back now, I understand now. I understand.
And were you pretty good in high school? Were you thinking, wow, I've got a little bit of talent with my comedy in the golf world?
No, because I didn't play golf.
Oh,
I
really?
Yeah, I played baseball. So I
Oh.
didn't. I remember going to the coach at Garden Grove High School as a freshman team and seeing if I could get on the golf team for whatever reason. I don't know. I was hitting balls out there, and Steve was, yelling, screaming at me. He said, "Can you break 90?" And I said, "Yes." And I couldn't break 90. How old are you when you were a freshman in high school? 15, 16?
15.
Yeah, 15, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had not really played golf. I was a baseball player.
Interesting.
My arm blew up pitching. So I had to do something where my elbow didn't get up above my shoulder. Or
That's a good game.
it didn't work. So I started playing golf. Uh, and that was it. So I sucked. And then the next year, I went to Riverside, California. My dad got transferred. He ran Fleetwood Mobile Homes, and the main plant was there. So I went to Riverside as a sophomore, and my parents would drop me off at Fairmont Park, which is the Muni of all munis. It's the tip of munis. And you had to learn how to read dandelions in the putting greens. So the ball bounces. You'd plant me there in the morning, and I'd play with these old guys all day, and then come and pick me up. So it was a great babysitter.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how I got started. So
Is that how you got to UC Riverside then, or was there multiple colleges that actually were interested in you at that time?
No, there was nobody interested in me, including my parents at that point. Yeah, it was Ramona High School, Riverside City College, where I played a summer of basketball under Jerry Cartania.
Wow.
Wow.
They were state champions, and I got abused. I got abused badly in those basketball. I played for the summer. I didn't play. I literally quit. They were really good. They were really, really good. So anyway, that was Riverside City College, and then I went to UC Riverside, and that was it.
Did you play golf at UC Riverside?
Yes.
Yeah.
I played golf at UC Riverside.
D2 champion, right?
Yeah. It was college division then. So I'd won. I came in second, I think in 69, and I won it in 70.
Wow.
In Ohio, the NCAA. So yeah, I played small college, but I played against SC, UCLA, and those guys, and Southern Cal.
So because I know that the Stocktons are all from the Redlands area, did you play against Dave a lot out that in those?
No, Dave was older, and obviously the boys were a lot younger. So I kind of missed. I knew he was there in Redlands because I would run across him playing golf in college. Run across him. He would be the sponsor or the chairman or something.
Oh, wow. And then when you graduated, are you thinking like, I'm good enough to turn pro? What was pro golf like back then? Was it
I remember there's some pretty good history here. The first mini tours ever were in 1971. And there was a thing called Golf World out. It was a magazine. And there was an advertisement for the first mini tour in the United States. Mini tour meaning that everybody put money in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
went and played for it, and the guy running it got a hunk out of it, and everybody else played for it. So we went from Southern California. I'll never forget this. And it was in Tampa, Florida. I didn't even know where Tampa was. I knew it was a long way to my right, over there somewhere. So I got in, and a buddy of mine that we grew up playing golf together, who was 6'4", and I'm 6'2", and we put everything we had, both of us, into a Fiat 124.
Oh my!
Which at 60 miles an hour, the RPM is about 8,200.
Right.
We got out of that car 3.5 days later, and for the next 3.5 years, all I heard was a sewing machine in.
That's a dangerous drive.
Very uncomfortable. We got there. We played in the first mini tour, and all the boys showed up there. Litsky was there, Kite, everybody. We put up $7,500, and we played for, I believe it was 17 weeks on the same golf course.
Wow!
And with the tournament was only 2 days long, so the whole week was playing money games with all these guys at various golf courses.
Okay.
So you really got to know and understand how good the guys were that you couldn't beat, and you tried to work your ass off to be able to beat them, and we got in the tournament. So it was a really interesting learning process. And then from there I went on. A bunch of the guys, everybody in my era played in those things. Every one of us. That was many tours. I went from there to Valdosta, back to California. WTGA started, so we just started going, and that's how you learned. That's the only way to learn at that time.
And you had to go through tour school, right? So where was tour school at?
Yeah, tour school. I missed it the first year. I missed. There's different categories. You start off, and you got to go to a local or regional, and then you finally get to the finals. So when I got my tour card in 1973, it was in October.
Wow, that's quick.
And it was we had 144 holes, and I think I finished second, tied for second, or maybe third alone to Crenshaw. Crenshaw came in. He beat us by 12 shots, and you go back. So he won, and there was one more tournament that year, and I believe it was the Texas Open, and Ben won the Texas Open.
Oh wow!
In his car, boom, went out there and he won. And anyway, this will tell you how when they think it's difficult now to play. So I came in second in the Q school. I don't know how many entrants across the United States. Came in second. My first tournament to play in was the LA Open. So I'm in Riverside. I drive to Riviera, and you go register on Sunday. And the lady's sitting there, and my name is Gary McCord. She looks on the list. She goes, "Mr. McCord, you'll be qualifying tomorrow at Los Serranos."
Los Chino.
What?
Wait, that's toward Riverside.
Chino. That's in Chino.
Serranos. Wait a minute. I said, "Isn't there anything closer?" She says, "Yeah, they're also playing at Hillcrest." I said, "What do you mean also playing at Hillcrest? How many guys?" She said, "Well, there's 180 at Los Serranos, and there's 180 at Hillcrest." And I said, "How many spots?" He said, "There's one at Hillcrest and there's one at Los Serranos."
Oh.
And I went, "Wait a minute now. I just finished second in Q school, and they're 360 for two."
Rookie.
I had a 112 starting time at Los Serranos.
Oh.
I shot one under the front, and I went home. I quit and went home because a guy at 8 o'clock in the morning shot 63. So I was done.
Oh
So
my gosh.
It was like that the whole West Coast in Florida, because in that part of our existence on the PGA Tour back then, if you had a Class 1 PGA card, that means a club pro, you could enter qualifying.
Oh, that's right.
So
I
what
remember
would
that.
happen back east, all the club pros would pack up their RVs, get their family in, and they'd follow the tour for 2 months. And then they go to their jobs after Florida,
in the summer,
when
yeah.
the weather broke. So we had guys, there was 250 to 300 every week for minimal spots. And I thought, I knew at that point, I had made a really bad business decision. Really bad.
How long did you last out on tour when you realized it really was a bad business decision?
I kept going. I only had to go back to Q school once.
Yeah.
1983, and came in top 10 again. And so I stayed out there till 91.
Wow. Wow.
That's when television came about in 86. So I was doing half and half,
Yeah.
running around doing this and that. And then finally I signed a contract with CBS, and I started working in 86 for them, but I signed the contract in 90. So they wanted me to quit full time
Yeah.
and coaching both sides.
What was your best finish when you were out on tour? What was something the most memorable?
I don't know how many times.
The
Yeah.
Greater Milwaukee Open, you like? I know that.
Enough to know I didn't win. I just get 22nd.
Yeah.
It wasn't a very good tenure on the tour, but you learn a lot, and you learned a lot. You got the crap beat out of you, and you learn how to play, and you learn how to try to believe in yourself. When there was nothing to format belief, right? And that's kind of the existence out there. It was Monday to Monday of defeat, and then trying to convince yourself this was a business you wanted to get into.
Interesting.
So I think perseverance probably reared its ugly head more than anything, and I was just too stubborn to quit. And then I like the lifestyle, and so you just find a niche.
Yeah.
Something that you're good at within the framework of what you're doing. And that's kind of what I did with the television.
So in 86, do they come to you, or did you go to them and say, hey, I'd like to try this out?
Television?
Yeah. CBS,
television was a happen chance deal. I was in Colonial. I was on the tour policy board, one of the 4 players that's getting a lot of mention right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to Memorial because we had a policy board meeting. So I was not in Memorial. That was a tournament that an invitational. So you had to have a certain status on the money list, and I wasn't in that status. But I was going there anyway. So I got in the airplane, and I'm going past first class, and Ben Wright, Cherkinian, Pat Summerall, Venturi. I forgot who else was up in first class, and they're kind of hooting and hollering. I was in 28B or something back by the jump. And about halfway through the thing, I get a bottle, half a bottle of wine that they sent back from first.
Oh, gracious.
The note, how is it back there? And I started thinking, I went, well, I'm not. The policy board meetings were Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. From Wednesday on, there was nothing. I had nothing. And the next tournament was at the Kemper, which was in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And that's expensive. Washington, D.C. is expensive. And I couldn't go home. And so I was going to go there. Man, I don't want to sit around. I wasn't beating anybody at that time. So I thought, all of a sudden I went, I'm going to go up and try to con CBS. So I walked up and thanked them, Frank Cherkinian, who was the executive producer director at that time who discovered television and golf. I walked in and I said, Frank, I said, listen, thank you for the wine. I appreciate that. And here's the deal. Is there any chance I can come in and watch you produce and direct the telecast this weekend and watch? Because I'm on the policy board making decisions as to, at that time it was ABC, NBC, CBS, I believe all 3 were involved, and I'm not sure if ESPN was involved. Anyway, there were networks involved, and we're making decisions. as to where we're going with the policy board, just starting off in golf in '83 under Dean Beamer at that time. And I don't know anything about televised golf, and I'd love to sit and just watch and learn, so my decision making would be better on the board. It was a big con, and he goes, "All right, barking. Where I don't know." I said, no money. I just want to watch. And so he goes, all right, check into the hotel. So I got it perfect, exactly what I wanted.
Nice.
I got to get to the hotel on Wednesday. When I was done, didn't pay for it. So I got, he says, show up on Friday. So I showed up on Friday, and I went up to the trucks, and I sat in the truck, and it was amazing. It was ginormous. There was 110 or something. Video monitors everywhere, and there's guys sitting there with slide bars doing this and doing that. It was just chaos. And I just sat back behind, and somebody said, McCord's here. And Circanian turned around, and he says, go out to 16. And I went, kind of myself. I said, Frank, I said, I'd like to watch here. Watch how you do it. No. I want you out. Get out there. And with Frank, you obey. So I go out of the truck. I don't know what the hell I'm doing at 16. The only thing I think of, 16th hole in Memorial's a par 3. And the job there is, if a caddy missed the cut, he would go to CBS. They would give him $50 or $100 a day and be a spotter.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And Freddie Couples is talking to Joe LaCava, and they go 7-iron, and he pulls out, and Joe flashes 2 7-iron, and I go, he's hitting a 7-iron. It goes to the main truck. Then it goes out to the stupid announcer up there going, you know what? I think he's hitting a 7-iron. So that's what I think I do. So I start walking out, and I start peeling to go to the green, and up in the tower, I hear Vern Lundquist yelling at me, get up here, get up here. So I turn around, I went up, and I go, what? And he goes, here, and he hands me a headset. And I go, what's this for? And he goes, sit there in that chair, and Frank wants to try as an announcer. That was it.
Wow. That is amazing.
That's how it started.
And yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. When I got done, at the end of the show, the last thing I said, this is what Vern Lundquist told me, got me the job the next week. I just want to, I'm an idiot. I don't, these guys, whatever. I've never won anything, nothing. So I've got to just, Pat Summerall, I asked him, I said, what do I do? And he says, just try being you.
Yeah.
So I went, okay.
Interesting.
So there was a shot. It was either the last group or the second last group. And the way they had the hole before, there was no lake there, okay, on 16. And behind the green, there was a big hill where people sat. And halfway up that hill is long grass, and it's just going straight downhill. And if you remember Muirfield, those greens are, I remember when I first played it, those greens, I've never seen fast before. It was fast. They were 14 and a half. And it was just, so I think it was Payne Stewart that time, hit it up on the hill. And Vern looked at me and he goes, Gary, what's he got? I said, well, here's what he's got. I said, I want everybody out there watching. I want you to go right now, get a golf ball, grab your wedge. I want you to go out to your front lawn. I want you to chip it onto the asphalt and say, bite. And Vern looked at me and he gave me one of those like that. And when I got done, now this was funny. When I get done, we're cleaned up, we're ready to go. They go through, and Circanian goes, hey, McCord, get in the office. Uh-oh, I'm going to get in trouble or something. So I go in the office, and he goes, what are you doing next week? I go, I'm going to the Kemper. He goes, great. When you miss the cut, come on up on the weekend.
Such a great supporter. What a great supporter.
For 3 years. When I missed the cut, they gave me $500 a weekend, but I'd move in to the hotel they were staying. So it was quite a Bedouin existence at that time. I was going from tent to tent to tent. And then I get CBS on the weekend, and I literally could eat. I could, they paid for everything. So I got to eat 3 meals. When you're playing out there shooting 75, those meals are not quite as consistent.
And it's
And Gary, you guys, because that's when I was getting into golf. I went from baseball to golf in 86, to be honest with you, and played at Saddleback Junior College. But one of the great things was you guys were rocking. I mean, you guys had a team that everybody loved. Your ratings were through the roof. And you look at the shenanigans that you've done in the past on air, and like when dressing up Ben Wright as Elvis in Memphis. I mean, just things like that. You can't do that nowadays, can you? It's just completely, totally different from where it was back when you guys were having fun to where it is today.
Yeah, I remember. Here's a story I'll tie into this one. I remember the first time we were really put in a position to take a look at our future and to go, oh, and it was a meeting we had, and it was at Colonial, and CBS called this meeting players and the announcers, and to talk about this new thing called graphics. And I'm sitting there with Faraday, and we're in the back. Of course, the idiots go to the back. And these guys are explaining all this stuff they're going to put up now with graphics. They're going to show this, they're going to go that, they're going to see how many greens they hit in reg. We got this shot length thing coming out, and we got all this stuff. And I looked at Faraday and I said, I think we're screwed. He goes, absolutely. It was nothing more than a tour's way to find revenue streams. Okay? Don't mention, but all these things are sponsored, and also we own ShotLink. So if you throw this stuff, get these people used to metrics, and then you go buy the ShotLink at home, so you get blah 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 blah. So we're sitting there, and they're showing us what they're going to do with golf balls hitting greens. And I told Faraday, I said, I'll handle this today. So we get there, and we're on the 16th hole, and it's a Saturday, and we're there, and David's on the ground, and they come to the 16th hole, and this guy's hit it on again, and it goes, Gary, and they show these things late, so everybody's kind of watching. Gary, here, explain this graphic. And basically, they overlaid a graphic, and it was the green with the bunkers left and the right, and then the green had golf balls all over the place, different colors, denoting whether it's going to be a par, a bogey, or so I got this splattering of dots. And I sat there, and the colors were red, white, and blue, very patriotic. And I said, okay, now if we take a look now, you can see that we've had a scarcity of the red golf balls. I said, you can only see we've got 3. Those are the birdies. And you can see the white, and you can see they're scattered all over. Those are the pars, and everybody's trying to miss it to the left. They don't want to short side this. That's why you see that. And then you've got the blue balls. Those really hurt. Barry was down the fairway. He went down.
Oh my God.
And Sparrow laughing his ass off. But he goes, "What? I told you not." And then everybody was done. They have just, because we all thought the same thing. Here we go in the era of ShotLink. But I got out blue balls. You don't want it hurt. And and I didn't say anything wrong. The blue balls are the ones that were bogey or more. So yeah, they'll hurt.
I mean,
put them in your own words.
It's gotten so boring, so stuffy. I just, again, your era, you, Faraday and Costas, and it just was such a fun time. It made a sport, which, no offense, because we're all golf addicts, we kind of can be slow, and it's kind of a nap inducer. It made it fun because you guys kept it fun. Man, I miss that a lot. I really think that, whenever we, quit screwing around and get things going back in the right direction for all the tours now, we need to add some of that flavor back, because it's kind of a snoozer for a lot of people, I think, right now.
They've got, obviously, there's some serious problems going on right now with everything about golf, and the point is the television Television is down anywhere from 25 to 30% across the
Yep.
board.
Yep.
Even a hell of a term for the players. With Scotty winning that was down 19% or 20%.
Yeah.
Whoa, those
Yeah.
are big numbers. I mean,
and,
numbers.
and Brent and I have talked about this, you know, when you look at it, you know, and maybe you're better, you know, you can probably educate us a little bit more, but the Sunday of the Masters was the best day in golf when it came to viewers last year. And I think it was about 700,000. I don't know if that sounds right or not, but, you know, you go look at a network and you're looking at, you know, Michigan, Ohio State college football was at 13.5 million. So
Well, I'll give you one. The Masters on Sunday was usually right around 8 million.
Oh, it's 8 million. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you know, we'd get a high 7 rating. That was on Sunday. The women's Elite Eight, when Caitlin was playing last weekend, drew 12.3 million.
There you go.
Annihilated the Masters on Sunday, late
Yes.
Sunday.
Well,
So, you know, Masters last year, the rating of the Masters on Sunday was the 131st
yeah.
highest viewed sporting event
Yeah.
last year, 131st. So there is a waning going out basically because we have got so much golf on television in all different platforms. And now we have taken our talent and we've basically dissected it and fractionalized it. And we didn't have that much talent to begin with, because as far as ratings are concerned, there's only one guy that does anything to the ratings, and that's Tiger.
Yep.
Right.
He's long gone. So you've got a bunch of nothing, and then you split a bunch of nothing. And as Billy Preston says, nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
Well, especially since you've got the fun guys, as we've talked about on the podcast many times, you know, the Brooks and the DJ and Phil and all those guys are on a tour which really doesn't have great production value. It's hard to find. And then you have the PGA Tour, which is great production value, but you only have 3 players you want to watch. The other 20, you don't even know who they are. And so John was texting me on the amazing playoff yesterday, and I just sent him a bunch of Z's, and I'm like, man, I don't care about these guys that come back from retirement. That, you know, I want some excitement. So they've got to figure it out.
I remember Harry Hicks told me in a conversation. He said they got all the villains. I never thought about that until I said, look at him. He's right. With every villain, every guy you wanted to root against is on live.
Yeah.
And we got all the guys that basically are somewhere between beige and white, and they're just it's kind of dull, and no one other than Scotty is playing good, and but there is no one out there that is going to dictate people to watch television, to stay home and watch it, to see how it turns out. And I think that's been, since I started, that's been happening. Once, you know, when I first started, golf was on for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I'm 16. Oh, there's a couple tournaments I didn't even get in. They only showed 17, 18.
Yeah.
And now you can watch it 24/7 starting on Monday. So there's an oversaturation in the marketplace, in golf, with the talent spread thinly.
Yeah, very true.
And I know we want to get these guys together, right? And I know that you've thrown out something like they call it the Galaxy Tour, or just for an idea of this premier tour where the top 80 players in the world are getting together and playing for. What frustrates Brent and I is on June 6th of last year, you know, he shakes the hands with the Saudis, and then it's 9 months later and they're still working on the framework. I mean, that stuff just gets me kind of fired up that they haven't come to put something together, and, you know, something's going to have to happen fast, I think, or it's going to get really ugly.
Yeah, what are you hearing, Gary, at the Rock on the putting green? Are you hearing any like it's coming in hot? I mean, we have a chance of having good golf again, or what are you hearing?
I'm hearing a lot. because I sat down with live players. I sat down with PGA Tour. I was hitting balls next yesterday. We're down at the end of the range, and I'm hitting balls next to Wyndham.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, this is Sunday night. What the hell? He's never played Augusta in the tournament. Never played What the hell are you doing? Tomorrow, really? I thought I'd have been there, Saturday or something. So yeah, that place is interesting because there's 37 guys that make their living playing golf there. So, and a lot of board members. So if you're on a putting green, there's a lot of conversation, a lot, and a lot of rumors and innuendo. And at this point, you can't discern what's true and what's not true because there's no information out. Nothing. You don't hear anything in the wind. All you hear is what they've heard, and most of that is rumor and innuendo. But if you take a look, to rehash it, you've got one entity, Live, that's got 752 billion in a pot, the PIF, Public Investment Fund, and they're going to win. They're going to win.
No doubt. No doubt.
100%. Yeah.
The tour, what are they? 1.2 billion. Really good. So you bring in the SSG, Strategic Sports Group.
Right.
What the hell are they in for?
Yeah.
To sell more T-shirts. Is that it? No, these are the big boys. Yeah. These are the guys that run sports franchises in the United States. Why would they want to get involved with golf, which is a nonprofit? We're a 501c6 nonprofit. What are they doing? I couldn't even, these guys at the club that are running major companies, CEOs. I'm going, guys, you got an answer? Nobody did. And then I got word, meaning rumor, innuendo, that Yasser told the SSG to go in and get in first and get involved with the tour. And then let's go back. What does Liv want to do? They want to get involved with sports. What does SSG do? They are sports. So what if these two came together under the umbrella of the tour and they used 752 billion to start buying sports franchises more and more? Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Interesting.
And I went to a couple of guys that run really big companies that play good. They're avid golfers, and they all went, that makes sense. Yeah. So you got to fetter out when you're doing this. Why? And the bottom line is there's 752 billion there, and it's a bank. And if the guy is running golf that's in control of the bank, Yasser Al-Ramana, that if you guys play friends with each other, we can appease both ends. You use Saudi money to buy sports franchises with guys that are running sports franchises in the United States. So that really does make sense. That's the only thing I can see that's vividly real, and the reason that SSG would be involved with golf for 1.5 billion and trying to come up and would come up with another 1.5. Now I could see that. The fact that Yasser hasn't made a move yet in some kind of coexistence with the tour, I don't know that, but you can only speculate.
Yeah.
That
because there's no information coming out. We can't get anything out of anybody.
You got to kind of figure it out yourself. So I'll throw this to you guys. Okay, if you've got a lack of talent around the world, basically, and needle movers, the thing that's going to move it the most is animosity. And there's never been any better animosity, Ryder Cup-ish, than live against the PGA Tour.
100%, yes.
What if you let them do what they do? Okay, let me go back and specifically state this. I got very interested in the fact that Pelly left as the
To go to Toronto. Yep.
CEO to go to Toronto of the DP Tour, which is the European Tour. That's an interesting time to do that after the merger with the Tour. Okay. Now, he goes there, and all of a sudden the SSG comes in. If they're going to take a look at the bottom line, they're going to look at that tour, the European Tour, and go, what are you guys doing with that?
Yeah.
So nothing now, the Defeater Tour, because their top 10 guys are eligible to play on our tour. So it's a satellite tour to get into that tour.
Yeah.
So what if they go get rid of that? Well, if they get rid of that, and what I thought of a long time ago is, why in the hell didn't Live buy the DP Tour?
I know. Yep.
DP is Saudi money anyway.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you go by that tour? Now what do you got? You got a whole tour, and you've got
Ryder Cup.
WGR ranking points. You got world ranking points.
Mhm.
So we'll get back to our deal. Let's say they do go by the DP Tour. Now you've got world ranking points. Now these guys can go play, and they can get in all the majors, and everything's fair. So at that point, let's take, to excite the riot a little bit, let's take those guys over there and us. And then, of course, you've got Canadian Tour guys, but they play on ours, Asian Tour, and these are the old WGR voting things. You've got the Masters, you've got USGA, PGA of America, and Asian Tour and South America, I think. Okay, there's 7. So you would add Live now to the 8th. That would everybody voting. So to have the riot, to have a situation like the Ryder Cup more than once every 2 years, why don't we do it? And I just threw out a number of 10. Let's say 5 to 10 times a year. At the top of the pyramid, those 75 ranked players in the world, like you said, Galaxy Tour, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And they fit them in to a schedule between the majors and around them, where you would find out. You would have a collision of the Rahms against the Schefflers to find out, instead of waiting for the majors, because you're getting killed on the other television.
Oh, yeah. Going out of business.
So you get a little bit of television interest, and you would get a collision. Then Live would go back and do their deal and play their tour and play their team play and their points and everything else. But everybody's aspiring to play in these 5 to 10 events that are 30 million, along with the majors, along with the FedEx Cup. It'd be a healthy schedule, but you have to play them all. It doesn't.
You know how much fun that'd be to watch, by the way? We would watch every one of those 5 to 10 events. I mean, maybe even more than some of the majors. I hate to say it, but when the British is rainy and kind of crazy, I'd maybe rather see the Galaxy Tour. So I love that idea. Now, talking about Live also, we heard that they were trying to get you to come work for them. What was the story with them trying to poach you over to the Live Tour?
Yeah, I got a call from David Faraday. And he goes, hey, listen, do you want to work over here? I go, doing what? Announcer, they want us, you to do the announce team. And Greg's going to call you. So Greg called a couple times. Got a call from a guy in Australia that was on the TV part of it. And we talked a little bit. My agent talked to him, and then Greg called a couple times. And it got down to the point that, and they had just hired that team they had when they first started, and everybody was on a 1-year deal except for Fultz and Faraday. Everybody else was on a 1-year deal. So we had time to talk about this, and it got around to the fact that I will be 76 here real soon. There's no way in the world I'm going to Adelaide, Hong Kong, Philippines, wherever they're playing. I do not. I did that for 52 years. Yeah. I don't want that. I just don't. Yeah. I said, Greg, I said, I would actually take a look if you do what you should be doing anyway, because of the cost of produced television, golf, The costs are extraordinary. Your broadcast team should be in a studio somewhere in Dallas or Scottsdale,
Exactly.
and
Right.
you green screen the back and show the 18th hole behind me. You would never know we're not there. There's no chance. All I need, I could be in a closet somewhere in Davenport, Iowa. And if I got a guy on the ground telling me where the wind's blowing and what the lie looks like, I can fake everything. And everybody can. Everything. You don't have travel expenses, you don't have hotels, you don't have to erect those giant tree houses that you're at. All that's gone. And that's the way it's going to be run in the future. So guys,
Correct.
start doing it now. No one cares if you're there or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In fact, the future, which is, I've talked about this on another show, which is interesting. We're experimenting with this right now. You can, with AI and deepfake and all of this stuff going, the future is going to be that you have a table of contents and you can pick out your announce team. Individually
Nice.
can pick out your announce team.
Yeah.
You get 5 people that you can vote for, or if you, let's say I'm just taking this pay-per-view and I want to see Vince Scully and Pat Summerall in the booth, and I want to see Johnny Miller on 17 or whatever. You put it together, and the voices and the face, you can't tell.
100%.
I'm right now. We're doing it a lot. I had dinner with Nance yesterday. Jimmy came into town for the Final Four, so we had dinner and everything. And he showed me his AI, which is a voice, and you can't tell.
Wow, that's crazy.
Frightening.
That wasn't me. And I sent to my guy who was at Augusta right now, Rick Folio, who sat beside me for 15 years. He was my stats guy. Everything I needed, he was firing shit at me the whole time. I'm a boom, boom, boom. I sent him this thing I wrote about applying for Phil's new caddy job.
Okay.
And he got done. He goes, that's funny. I like that. And I go, that wasn't me. And he goes, what? I said, that wasn't me. Bullshit. He said, what do you mean that wasn't you? I said, that's AI, not me. And he went nuts. He goes, I'm next to you for 15 years. He said, that is you. And I go, wasn't. So there's where we are.
That is scary. That's frightening.
A deepfake picture of yourself and put it up there, which CBS does. They just put a picture up there. And then your voice, and the AI is nothing more than researching, right? It's a vast internet of information, and AI just takes that information and takes it in and then uses that information accordingly for a voice over a telecast, and it can announce itself. It's really amazing.
That's frightening. I mean,
Brent,
that's
Brent, wasn't that what the actors were fighting about, right? When they were on the
yeah,
stage,
you
right?
know, at Lakeside, there's all these actors there, and they're just up in arms because in the in the past year or two, they'd give you $500 for your name and likeness and your voice, and now people are like, no, if you're going to use anything related to me, you have to do that. So, oh my God, that is so wild. So,
like the music business, basically.
Yeah,
but
correct.
Yeah, name likeness is everything, and that's interesting because I could, at my age, I could sit back here in Scottsdale and do all the announcing you wanted. It wouldn't be me. I'd be up.
That's the easy way to do it. Speaking of which, tell us what you're up to, Gary, these days. We've seen a little bit of Off Your Rocker. Is that your main thing you're doing right now with Costas?
Yeah, Peter and I've got it was boredom. It was boredom, Peter and I. So everybody's doing a podcast, right? A podcast. Put a stupid name on and do a podcast. And we got going, and now we're just doing it. We don't, it's not a job. We don't need a job. We just need to have some fun and be able to talk to the guys about certain things. And I, as you know, deviate off of.
But that's what we love. And that's how we
fun.
started the Chumps, because John and I for 20 years played competitive golf as amateurs and talked golf. And I said, let's just start recording. And we started having people call us like, I want to come on. I want to come on because people get to talk about golf, which they love.
Yeah.
And it's nice and formal. I stole this format from Jason Bateman. We play a lot of golf together, and he has that Smartless podcast. And he goes, Brock, just Zoom it, sit at your house, be in your office. It's beautiful. And especially with everything going on, the most drama. I mean, you tell me, Gary, but in the last 20 years has occurred in the last year and a half in golf. So this is a really good time to chat and engage. And I feel like, since golf on TV is so boring, this is kind of the formats, off your rocker, and a lot of different, podcasts and YouTube channels are the most fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's some things coming up that are really interesting for our medium to it can't exist. It can't exist the way it's going. And I'll take you back a little bit. The tour signed a media rights deal, and it started in 2022. It goes to 2030. Okay, and they signed that for 5.1 billion, I think was the number. The number's about 730 million to the tour per year from 22 to 30. Okay, so sponsors all signed that. And I probably did the deal in probably 2021, right? So here we are now, 2024. Let's go back 1 year. Let's really define what's going on. So 2023, there's, first of all the tournaments expected to have the rights to get a player from the PGA Tour, the best possible field they could get. Well, they come now to 2023, year after the contract's already signed, and a lot of the really good players have gone to live. That's out.
The villains.
Start this thing with elevated tournaments, they called it. 8 of them. Well, that wasn't in the original contract. So now you come along, in the first year they had it, if you remember, LA was an elevated. Next one was Honda, which was not, and then it was elevated with Arnold's tournament in Orlando. Well, all of a sudden, NBC's sitting there with Honda, and they've got a Corn Ferry event, right? There's
Basically
nobody there.
Yep.
These guys are going to work around this deal now. So what's Honda do after 54 years?
Yep.
We're out of here.
And Wells Fargo too.
Bingo. And then the dominoes start.
And the farmers are next. Yeah.
Start to go. So all these sponsors, believe me, I've been talking to title sponsors and all these guys on this, and they're all pissed. How can you possibly do a contract in good faith with companies that you've been dealing with for a long time, and then inexplicably not give them some kind of bargain, kind of something to say, okay, we've changed the rules after you sign, and you guys are getting screwed. And then NBC, out of the 8, only got 2. Okay, of the elephant. Now they're pissed. Now you see why they've got basically the Voice television show on their weekend. You don't know who's in the tower.
No.
Nothing more than mocking the sponsors and the tour, going, here's what we're going to do. They cut cameras out. They've cut everything.
Well, you called it. If we could take these unelevated events that are kind of boring, no offense to John, loved the finish yesterday. I didn't even watch the event. Suck those out and put in the Galaxy Tour. Now we're elevated and we're World Tour. I mean, I'd be pumped to watch golf again.
It's, and it won't end up like that. To me, it seems easy, and it seems you take, instead of trying to fight the animosity, you embrace it.
Yes. Yeah.
Use it for theater.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to get. It's theater. Okay. And the Saudis are going to win. They got the most money. So guys, do what it looks like you should be doing. Right. Yeah. And I've sat down. I can't tell you the guys I've talked to, but on Live, I've sat and talked to them the other day. So talked for an hour with a very prominent player and Live, and I told him the whole deal. And he told me he wouldn't play the 10. I said, you don't have to. You got enough money. You don't have to play where you want. But it's the idea of us versus them. And in fact, I told them, I said, by the way, you keep antagonizing the social media, the PGA Tour. Keep it up. Don't back off.
The villains. Be the
Yes.
villains.
Be what you guys are, the villains. And it's, you could do it. I mean, you could organize this whole thing where it work out for everybody.
Yeah.
So again, and I know nothing. I know.
Well, I mean, we're hopeful that this is going to happen because, you know, we're kind of bored with golf because it's just in a weird spot right now. But oh my God, I love all the takes on this. Before we let you go, though, question, and I've heard this for many years, was Tin Cup based on your life story?
Tin Cup. I got the script in 90. When did we start shooting that? We started shooting in 96. So I got the script from my agent. He sends me this script, and the working title is Tin Cup. Warner Brothers Studio, directed and written by Ron Shelton. And I get it, and I go, and I call him and say, "What the hell's this?" He goes, "They're doing a movie, about a golf movie or something. They want to know if you're interested." I said, "In what?" He said, "I don't know." So the first thing you do, if you get a script, you go through it and see how many times you're in it. Okay.
Got it. Yep.
You don't look, you don't read it.
Yeah.
You're just going through going, do I see my name? Because it was on, I think, what was the script? I've got it here somewhere in the room. I want to say it was like 78 pages or something like that.
Okay.
And you know, through it, significant. I didn't know what they wanted, and cover letter, and it said Ron Shelton. And then, so I started reading it. Now I read it, and I noticed that there's two things in there that are totally conspicuous. The Pelican story, which I did at Cola, but nobody knew about that. This was before social media.
Mm-hmm.
We did this stuff. It was me, it was John Schroeder, it was Ed Sneed, and Bill Calfee, who ended up being the commissioner of the Corn Ferry Tour. We were in a condo. We were a 4-room condo in Pensacola. It was a rain out, total washout for the day, coming down. So we just started playing cards. And we're in there, and I go to the back, take a leak in the back. My clubs are back there, and I start walking. I start walking in the hallway, and I notice our backyard went out a little bit, and then there was a wharf because we're right on a canal, and in the end was a wharf, and this Pelican came by and laid post sitting there, and I looked back down the hallway, and I looked, and we're gambling, right? We got nothing to do. You got nowhere to go, nothing to do. So, hey guys, hey, I got a deal for you, and I had some balls in there. I said, hey, you guys give me 10 shots from right here in my bedroom. I bet I can knock that Pelican off his face. And then they all start looking, and they're going. Now he said, I get to move that lamp. There was a sofa in line and a lamp there, or a light. And then I had to open the sliding glass doors, and there was a balcony, wooden balcony. And I mean, the last thing I want to do is break anything because I'm broke anyway, right? I can't afford it. First of all, I couldn't afford to take a divot out of the carpet, and I couldn't afford to break any of the windows or anything like that. So I got up, and it was on. I don't know how much money it was on. I got 10 shots. So I get the first, it's a 4-iron shot. You got to hit down on it to hit it low, and I got to spin it and make it go left or right down the wall, right of the hall. And I hit that, I hit it, I flinch. As soon as you flinch, you don't know where it's going. I'm going to break something. Boom, it flies through the hallway. It's pretty long. And then it went over the couch and looked like it was going to blow up the window, and it cut at the end and went out through the window. It went out through the sliding glass doors. And then I looked up, and it's going right at that freaking Pelican. And it went over the Pelican about that high, about a foot over his head, and he took off. First shot.
No way. No way.
I can't make a cut. I can hit a Pelican out there from my back. Anyway, that happened. There's no nothing. There's nothing written. And that shows up in the script. And the other one was it was a 16th hole at Memphis at Colonial at Memphis. And it was on a Friday, and I had to birdie 2 of the last 3 holes to make the cut. And I hit my second shot, I hit a tree. My third shot was over what? It was an island green. My third shot, okay? You can get to this par 5. It was an island green. It looked like 17th hole at TPC, okay? Except you're banging a wood in it. And the green was a little bigger. And I hit a 4-iron from about 220, just right at it. And it hits the pylons, bounces backwards into the water. And my caddy takes it back, starts walking up and said, "Come here." Joe, get back here. I go, he goes, "What?" I said, give me another ball. The drop area's up there by the green. You can drop there. I said, "Joe, now I can't birdie the hole, right?" So I'm out. Basically, I'm out. And now I get pissed. So I think I hit 5 in the water.
Oh.
And then the next thing I noticed, Joe comes over and he's got a 3-iron. The last thing I want to see after 5 balls is a 3. And he's got a ball like this. So he walks up to me and I get nose to nose with him. And I go, "What is that for?" He says, "The 3-iron is for one more club. This is your last ball." So the deal in golf is you never want to get a rob that's run out of balls.
Yes.
In the world, because I've seen it happen a couple of times. The next week when you go to your locker, they go to the range and they fill your locker up with balls. And you open it, there they go, all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, because you can hear it forever. Everybody gets laughing and they're going to come over. So that's the last thing you want to do is run out of balls. So I hit a 3-iron on and made a 45-footer for 15 on that.
So these sound like the stories that you must have told at San Luis Ray Downs back in the day.
Yeah, you're right. It put in, but I said, and I said, "Ron," and I called him up. I had my agent says, give me his number. I want to see how serious he is about this. They wanted me to be the technical director and to act in it and then help Kevin and these guys get where they could look like they're going to win the Open. And I got talking to Ron. I said, "Ron, what are you doing?" He goes, I said, "Get an airplane, get out here to Vail, Colorado, where I live, and let's talk." He flew out. He got Costner's airplane, and he flew out 2 days later. And we spent 3 days in the bar drinking and eating and playing golf. And we became very good friends.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
And I asked him, "Where'd you get him?" He says, "I liked him because the stories are great. And the reason you're here is because you got kicked out of the Masters." And he said, "I like that." So the whole deal was he found those. It was a story. He showed me the story. It was in Golf Week or Golf World. And I never saw the story. But one of the 4 boys ratted on him.
They ratted on you, and I hope they paid you too before you left that day so you could eat well.
That's what the thing was about.
Interesting. I love it.
There, we got to rewrite some stuff and put some stuff in and do it. But it was a great experience. It was
such a great movie, and I mean, I love these stories, and I want to be respectful of your time. But John, anything else you got for the icon here?
Yeah, I was gonna go down and you told one of the best stories at Gordy Severson's funeral about the jockey and him racing in the parking lot there at San Luis Ray Downs. And good old Mary sitting right in front, and just this quiet little lady, and you tell the story, and you had everybody in stitches. It was priceless because so I don't know if you know Brent, but Gordy, my golf coach, he was a horse guy. He named a horse called McCord and Scuba, and I don't know about if you know about the stats, but Tommy gave them to me, and I don't know if you know the stats on McCord and Scuba, but it was 52 starts, 5 firsts, 6 seconds, 7 thirds, and made $350,000.
That's a lot better. career, I'll tell you that. A lot of it. Yeah, and the whole deal with that was I wanted to make sure that Gordy had the rear end of the horse. I mean, Scuba had the rear end of the horse. So it was before Scuba.
Alan
Scuba
Scuba,
got the
yeah,
rear end. So yeah. And yeah, we had a good time. There was a place called San Luis Rey Downs,
yeah,
which is now sea.
nothing. Yeah,
and it was one of the great gambling places of all time.
I
yeah.
love it.
And you had the horse track literally right across the street from it,
Right
where they
across
trained
the
for Del
street.
Mar.
Yes.
So these jockeys would come into the bar, and I don't know, Gary, if you want to tell the story, but it was priceless. But
well, I mean, there's so many stories there. We're getting.
you could have a sitcom, right? You could have a sitcom out of that place.
Well, I got a call from HBO, and it was like Gary Foster was in the car with these guys that were going to lunch. Gary Foster, producer of Tin Cup. They were Entourage had been running 9 years, and they wanted a guy's thing. So I wrote a treatment for a story. It was called Range Balls, and it was about San Luis Rey Downs. All the stories we did.
Oh man, I wish it'd gotten
One
through.
of the stories Gordy was involved with too. We get there early every day and have coffee and start thinking of stuff. And one guy came in and he talked about he got in this fight with his ex-wife again. And I looked at the boys and I said, hey, how about an ex-wife's 9-hole worst ball tournament? Well, that sounds interesting. So we did. We ran the damn thing. And there were rules. There were rules. There were no knives or guns allowed. You could not, during your swing, you could not talk about your current wife or girlfriend's attributes versus yours in any way, shape, or form. There was the closest to the hole, which the girls got a night out at Chippendales that was down there in Oceanside, California. And then at the end, there's a band there that was called Los Gringos. And the band, we had a big party afterwards for the winners. And the winner had to read their divorce decree, their court decree of the divorce and the reasons in front of Los Gringos and all the participants. And the song was Frank Sinatra's Going My Way. One of the guys got pissed at his ex-wife on the golf course. And so when he slashed her tires, he slashed all 4 of her tires.
Oh my gosh.
We had it once and that was it because we couldn't do it anymore. But that was nonstop chicanery out there.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
People, horse owners, golfers, just idiots. Everybody had a nickname. Yeah. There was Foot the Freak, Colonel Clank, Louis, Lex Luthor. Nobody won. There were phone calls coming to the pro shop, and there was a various amount of witness protection people around. No one wanted to know anybody's name. And so it was comical. It is a sitcom waiting to happen.
We got to make that happen. I'm going to reach out to my Lakeside Hollywood guys and see if we can get that done. But I can't thank you enough, Gary. Let's please make this part 1. Come back, bring some friends. This is your outlet. If Costas won't get weird enough, come on with us and we will just talk about whatever you want. Just text John and say, hey, I got to talk. I got 20 minutes to rant. Let's go, because this has been a joy. I mean, you're a legend to us. I mean, you got us into the fun of golf, how to really enjoy watching the coverage, and hopefully we're going to see you more and more off your rocker podcast and YouTube, and maybe even here. You never know. And come to Lakeside when you're in LA. We'll host you up here.
I'd love to.
All right. I want to thank Rick. I want to thank Rick Talt first, too, a good friend of yours that you grew up with. So, and he was the one that put this whole thing together. So, I want to thank Rick. So,
thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Gary.
Really appreciate it. You bet, Gary. Take care.